Good morning, Kansas City. This is New Day with SSJ on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thank you so much for joining us. Stephen St. John here live at the Hilton President Hotel in downtown Kansas City, Missouri. My main man, Easton John, here again, tending bar and setting up the remote. Nate Bucati back in studio with Jake Gutierrez.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Good morning to this.
Good morning to everything.
After several hours on stage yesterday, the voice is a little damaged, but we pushed through. It was fun, though, man. Beautiful weather and great atmosphere at Miller Lite Fan Fest presented by Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thank you to all the wonderful people that stopped by and said hello. Listeners of Sports Radio 810 as we enjoyed the basketball. Did not enjoy Mizzou coming out not ready to play. Even players on the team suggesting that others on the team weren't ready to play, which is absolutely baffling. But a furious comeback by Mizzou after being down big. Saw Mark Mitchell hit a turnaround fadeaway jumper with about 2.5 minutes left to give Mizzou a 70-69 lead. And from that point, they collapsed down the stretch, and Kentucky hit some wild shots. And that's it. One and done for Mizzou in the SEC tournament. Now, they, after losing 3 in a row to close out the season, they have to wait. They await their fate on Selection Sunday. They have to watch other teams like Oklahoma, who blew out Texas A&M late last night, watch other teams try to steal their bid. And they have to keep their eyes on other tournaments to see if they are going to have a spot on Sunday when the big dance invitees are announced. So didn't have to do it, but they did it. And so now they have to sit and wait, and nervous times between now and Sunday for the Missouri Tigers. Kansas State looks like they have found their next basketball coach. K-State expected to hire Belmont's Casey Alexander as its next head coach. Everyone reporting this morning. Alexander led Belmont to a regular season title this year in the Missouri Valley and has won 20 games in 10 straight seasons. And so Casey Alexander is the next head coach of the K-State basketball program. We can ask Stan Weber about that when he is in studio a little bit later on in this hour. We are set up for a gigantic semifinals tonight at the Big 12 tournament because chalk is held, and so now the heavyweights will go at it as we will see Iowa State against Arizona and Houston against Kansas after all 4 advance yesterday in the quarterfinals. But you won't see that stupid floor that everyone's been talking about because the Big 12 and Brett Yormark, I guess, heard enough criticism and enough players were either falling down, getting hurt, getting migraines, getting headaches, being startled by the lights, a wide variety of complaints. And so last night, a statement from Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark was released. After consultation with the coaches of our 4 semifinal teams, I have decided that in order to provide our student athletes with the greatest level of comfort on a huge stage this weekend, we will transition to a hardwood court for the remainder of the tournament. We look forward to a great semifinals and championship game. I mean, where's this going to rank in the list of dumb decisions we've seen in sports around here? When we talked about this, when you had the K-State player, like Taj Manning, complaining about the court after K-State played on it, saying he had a teammate, did a migraine, they should go back to the hardwood. The next day we said, oh, boy, this can't last. Like, now you've heard complaints. What if a player gets seriously hurt? What are they going to do here? And then you find out that this was the first time this floor has been used in an official competition in the United States. Okay. Well, it didn't last, and certainly Brett Yormark deserves criticism for utilizing this floor, right? But I guess you could give him a pat on the back for listening to the criticism and not forcing the issue and actually swapping to a hardwood court in time for the semifinals. But like C.J. Moore, he's going to have a column that's posting this morning about. Everybody has a column about it because that was. And see, this is the thing, kind of like what Bill Self said after the game last night. He said, "Look, I hope now that if this happens, we can focus on the basketball and not focus on the court because too many people have been focusing on the court when we have a really good basketball tournament going on." And so C.J. Moore just posted, "Going forward, the Big 12 needs to embrace the basketball. That's what the people come to see. That's the show. Celebrate the quality of your teams. No need for shiny objects. Look, you can be a master of promotions and everything else, but, I would say enough's enough." That was. I guess there's people out there that came to see the fly. I think Nate was getting ready to go into a game last night, and he's like, "I can't wait to see this floor." And I'm like, "Nate, what about the teams? Who's playing?" And so I was confused by that. And there were people that told me, "Man, it's really cool to watch that." I'm sure it is. I'm sure that if they had fireballs shooting out of the basketball court, that would be cool for the fans to watch too. But I don't think they should do that.
It's not that cool on TV.
It
looks stupid on TV.
I think it looks awesome
on TV.
I thought,
in person, I'm sure it's really cool, but
it looks way cooler in person. But I thought it looked cool on TV too.
I think it looks like a video game.
And I'm not interested in debating this, but the consensus from everything I've seen is people thought it looked great in person, and people thought it looked like crap on TV. But to each their own. There's no right or wrong. It's what your opinion is. But based on the people that were after I posted some stuff or reposted some stuff, people were saying, "Man, this looks terrible on TV." I changed. I didn't even want to watch the game anymore. One guy, I changed the channel.
Yeah, it's hard to watch sometimes. It's real weird looking.
But some people liked it. A lot of people didn't. And then the consensus, most everyone inside the arena loved it and loved how it looked during the player introductions and everything else. But what are we talking about here? Whose opinion should matter most? Nate up in the lower level, sipping on the beer, like, "Oh, this is really cool," or the players out there that don't feel comfortable, that feel like their concentration level or whatever else is being affected by the lights, or don't feel certain about the footing, or the kid from Texas Tech who injured his groin. Whose opinion should matter most here? Nate's thinking right now, mine, of course.
Yeah. I'm the customer. I'm the one paying.
But what are we?
I didn't pay for my ticket.
I thought it was baffling after when we first talked about this, and I'm not surprised. Well, I guess I am, man. I'm glad that Brett Yormark came to his senses.
Yep.
And then you saw did you see the pictures? People were taking the close-up pictures, like, of the seams and how janky that looked. And it was just, of the court. I don't know, man.
Well, we've talked more about this court than we have the actual basketball on the court.
And but I guess what? Brett Yormark doesn't mind that.
I don't think he does at all.
Well,
until it got bad, then he minded it. Until, all the national college basketball writers came in and said, what are you doing here?
Right.
And then you started to hear some comments from players, and then it just wasn't one. It was two, and then more and more, and then, oh, boy. As soon as we heard the comments from Taj Manning, what do we say, Jake? Oh, boy. You better hope a player doesn't actually get hurt or injured. But, I don't know. Make a case for the floor, Nate.
So, I guess I'll ask you guys this. Do you think that's the last time we'll ever see a floor like that being used in the game of basketball on the professional level?
Well,
that version of that edition of it,
right.
They clearly have to make some
Maybe
changes.
In 3 or 4 years when it's actually proper.
Right. But what do you think? Like, because we're talking about like it being distracting and people not liking looking at it, things like that.
I think it's
do
more.
You guys think it's more likely that we see that in the future or less likely?
I really don't know. I mean,
well, I don't think there's any other conferences that want to. I think it would have to be the Big 12. I don't think any other conferences are going to be jumping through hoops to do this.
Here's the thing: we'll see it if it can be comparable to wood floors that they play on. If they can create a glass floor that is,
they'll have to improve the technology and make it more like so it's not slippery.
Real cool for a dunk contest, an all-star game.
Yeah.
But the way it's been used, not in an official competition.
Right. But so like. There's a court like that's going to have to be used in an official competition for a first time somewhere.
Well, yeah, but it's been used on competitions, just not official.
Right, but sometime there's going to be a first time when it's used in an official.
There's going to be a second time.
Well, now there is. But what I'm saying is,
I don't think there's any guarantee that we'll ever see it again.
Right.
There's not. I'm not saying there is a guarantee, and maybe this is such a disaster that it'll never be used again. If you ask me, my opinion, my prediction. I think we'll be seeing every court in the NBA being like this someday. I don't think they'll stop with the technology. I don't think that people that work in professional sports are ever going to try to stop marketing the game and making it seem like a bigger spectacle. I mean, you look at the stuff that's on the courts in NBA, the way that NBA courts look now, they're constantly changing and evolving, and they're trying to make things more entertaining and I mean, I'm a purist about a lot of things. One of the things I love about soccer, there's nothing on the field. I mean, if we want to be like that, there's nothing on a soccer field.
You want a glass field for soccer?
Yeah, with like LED lights everywhere. No, I don't. I mean, I like the fact that soccer hasn't changed. They don't allow logos on the field and advertising and things like that. But
so why do you want it for basketball?
Well, what I want. This is the only part that I will defend. And I said this before. When this league was getting pulled apart, we had a commissioner, and then remember who was the interim commissioner that they brought in to like hold the fort down and keep the thing from falling apart.
Bob Bowlesby.
It was Bob Bowlesby, and then they brought in, God darn, I can't remember the guy's name.
Chuck Ninus.
Chuck Ninus, who thought they were still playing at Kemper Arena. Remember that? And we were all laughing in here about how the Big 12 is always behind the curve. They're always behind the curve. Everybody else is making moves, and they are always reacting. And so they brought in a commissioner who was ahead of the curve. And sometimes being ahead of the curve, you make mistakes. Sometimes you try things, you get aggressive, and they don't work. But you try to be bold and see if you can be the first one to do something and make your conference. And let's be honest, there's so many conference tournaments out there. The conferences are so big. People don't I don't think they register with people the way that they used to, and you're trying to make something big happen and make it. And I will say, it looked amazing during the warm-ups and all that stuff. It was really cool, and I do think that going to a sporting event and seeing a spectacle and all that, when you go to a Chiefs game and they got the pyrotechnics at the warm-ups and all that stuff, that enhances the experience of going to the game. Should the game still be the most important thing? Absolutely, 100%.
Well, they also had to get rid of the fire at Arrowhead because another stadium,
Tennessee,
it caused a fire.
Yeah, Tennessee, there's fire on the field at Tennessee.
I'll be honest with you, no, I don't care about the pyrotechnics at Arrowhead. I want to watch Patrick Mahomes play because I'm going to see the highest level of football, and I'm excited to watch that team. and the Big 12 has the highest level of basketball in college basketball, and you don't need all the bells and whistles. If you're a struggling conference or some other conference that needs eyeballs on it, okay, go ahead and do that. The Big 12 needs that.
I think the Big 12 is trying to keep up with the Big 10 and the SEC every way they possibly can.
Then
because
go get the best teams for your schools. They're behind. You're talking about a completely different kind of curve. They're behind the curve because other conferences were getting bigger and taking other schools away. They weren't trying to promote themselves. They were poaching other schools. It's a whole different curve.
Yeah, but what are they going to do? Poach schools from the Big 10 and the SEC? They've gotten the schools. It's about money. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about money. It's about generating enough money so that everybody in your conference can pay players and win games. That's what it's become about in college athletics now.
Well, then you should worry about the product on the field, on the court.
Yeah, but on that court has a possibility to generate God knows how much money if you can run digital advertising and all that other stuff.
That's great, but if the player's at risk of injury,
100%. And I'm glad that if it's not safe for the players to play on, it's not worth it. Period.
That should be the end of the discussion.
It is. I mean, and I'm glad he made the move. If the players and the coaches say this isn't safe to play on, then they shouldn't play on it.
Well, it's not even just that. It's just it's different. So you're
play the clip from Christian Anderson.
He's the kid from Texas Tech that pulled his groin yesterday. I'm with you. You're asking me to build the case for it. I'm defending the mindset behind why I like the fact that you got a commissioner who tries to push the envelope and make things happen. I'm glad they changed it. I think he was rash on this. I think this was a mistake. Clearly, this court wasn't ready to be played on, and they're admitting it. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. They made a mistake because somebody got injured. Thankfully, hopefully, I guess I should say, it's not serious, right?
Yeah, you hope. Well, here's Christian Anderson from Texas Tech after he played on the court.
How slick was the floor?
I mean, it's slick. I played on the court like it in Germany at Munich, and I kind of knew going to before we came here that it was going to be a slippery court. I think it's just like the material that it's made of. But yeah, it's a new court to everybody, and I don't think it's anybody's fault, but. Yeah, I think it's just the material it's made of makes people slip, and it's not a lot of grip. So, yeah, it was pretty slippery though.
What happened when you went down?
I don't remember the exact play, but I think I just slipped and I extended and got put in a position that was a little unnatural. So.
Hurt your groin?
Yeah, that area.
Yeah. Would you have been able to go back in if it was close?
I mean, I try to go and give everything to the team, no matter the score. So.
Yeah. So you were done for the day.
Yeah, I was done no matter what.
Do you think it would have happened on a normal court?
Not necessarily. I mean, anything can happen. I don't know if it was a wet spot or anything, but it just slipped.
Is there like an adjustment period for playing on that court? I know you mentioned playing on it in Germany, but how many games do you had on it?
I haven't played much on it. I mean, it's just you gotta be precise with your movements, and you can't make a lot of movements that will put you in a position to slip. So, that's just what it was.
Does that mess with psyche? What you're doing?
A little bit, but you got to be able to adjust. Basketball is a game of adjustment, so yeah.
I mean, what's your reaction to Christian Anderson's comments?
Yeah, I mean, he it sounds like he feels like it was a cause for part of his injury. He wasn't. I appreciate the fact that he wasn't definitive about any of it. I mean, I think he said, look, things could happen. It could have been a slip spot, things like that. But obviously, these guys feel like the floor is slippery. Watching the game, I only watched the last game in person. I was sitting with Sterling, and we were talking about it. And I said, it doesn't look like the game. I don't notice it watching it that the guys out there are slipping. Like, I didn't see anybody. I don't remember seeing anybody slip and fall off the top of my head in the KU TCU game. And the sound, like you hear that screeching on the floor that you hear on a wood floor. So it sounded the same and it looked mostly the same to me. But I know that Bill Self had said that it was not the kind of slippery where your foot slides out from under you. It's more like when you plant your foot, it maybe slides a little bit, and that could lead to injuries. So, I mean, obviously, if it's leading to injuries, and that's why they made the decision, they had to make a change.
And that court was expensive, too.
Millions.
It wasn't, well, good for Brett Yormark and the Big 12 for making the change. And somehow we'll be able to force ourselves to watch basketball on a regular hardwood floor, and maybe it'll be good enough. I don't know. With these 4 dynamic national championship contenders, I hope nobody is trying to sell their tickets tonight. I want to see them. I want to see lights on the floor, and I want to see flames and fireworks. I don't want to see these damn teams on wood. So hopefully, if you're coming to see the floor tonight, just focus on the basketball. If you can, don't let the basketball distract you. All right? We'll take a break. Back after this on WHB. Welcome back to New Day with SSJ on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you very much. Stephen St. John live at the Hilton President Hotel in downtown Kansas City, Missouri, the official hotel of New Day with SSJ and my headquarters for the Big 12 tournament. We have Nate Bucati and Jake Gutierrez back in studio, now joined by Stan Weber. Stan, good morning. How are you?
I'm well. Good morning.
Looks like Kansas State has a new basketball coach, Stan.
Yes, sounds like it.
Can I get your reaction to the news that it looks like the now former Belmont head basketball coach, Casey Alexander, will be taking over at Kansas State? I'm sure everyone waking up still trying to wrap their heads around this news.
Yes, he seems like a guy that's had success. I've heard some good things about him all along throughout the process. I've never met him, so I don't know what he's about. But putting together 20-win seasons year after year is impressive. He seems to be a guy who's been very loyal and focused and not thinking about jumping to the next thing, because my understanding is he's been around Belmont a long time as a player when they were an NAIA school, as a longtime assistant for a while, and then when he went out in the head coaching world, he circled around and ended up being a Belmont coach for a while now, and has done a good job in the Missouri Valley Conference. So, positive things, but throughout the whole process, and even today, my answer is really not the one that most people would expect. Everyone says, who do you want? What do you think? And I said, I let the people at K-State do their work, and whoever it is going to be the person I'm working with and excited about and ready to roll with. So I can't say, I like person A and not person C, and then person C gets hired and you go, well, wait a second. So I don't even let my mind go there. If that makes sense, whoever K-State hires as the coach, then I'm ready to start working with and get excited about and see what can happen. And I remember back to the reputation that Bob Huggins had. Think about Bob Huggins, how well we thought we knew him as a longtime coach at Cincinnati. And you might think, wow, I don't know. Is this guy going to be a fit at K-State? And all those kind of things. You might have those early opinions. He's a big name, but, he was a hard-charging guy and on the officials and all these kind of things. And then you get to know him, you go, wait a second. Being around him is totally different than everyone said about his reputation. So I quickly learned with Bob Huggins. Was a great example. Like, don't get ahead of yourself. Don't assume that you know what you're getting into until you get there. And I'm big about that anyway, for what it matters. In anything in my life, I'll use 100 times more intensity in my evaluation in what my personal interaction is with the person than what people said about him or the reputation or what I saw on TV. So to me, it's a blank slate. If K-State says that's our guy, I think it's probably a good decision. And for me, it's a great decision because that's who I'm going to go with and work with and get ready to try to win games. So I'm glad that he's had success. I mean, I think, on the NFL draft, what do I talk about? Success on the field, not the reputation of measurements and the combine and things like that. It's like, what do you do on the field? So a coach that proves that he can win time after time, year after year with different rosters and different scenarios, that's always a good place to start.
Casey Alexander, 53 years old, from Chattanooga, Tennessee, played at Belmont, was an assistant at Belmont from 1995 when he graduated until 2011. Then took over at Stetson as head coach for 2 years. Then he was the head coach at Lipscomb from 2013 to 2019, and then he came back to his school, Belmont, where he's been head coach since 2019. Overall record of 303 and 180, and he's been, as we talked about, really good at Belmont this year. 26-6, 16-4 in the conference with the conference regular season championship. And I did see Kevin Sweeney from College Basketball Central, writes for SI Now, and obviously covers college basketball. He posted that Casey Alexander may have been the best talent evaluator in mid-major hoops. Roster's loaded, won 26 games. You pair his talent evaluation with K-State's resources, and now you're cooking with gas, Stan. So
sounds
that's
good.
right up.
You know,
Yep.
something that makes me feel good is Kurt Cignetti at Indiana. We know about his football story, and it doesn't mean that every story is like that, but all he did is work his way up the ladder and won games. And it seemed like it's a good indicator. I think of Lance Leipold at Kansas doing what he's done and turning Kansas football into a legitimate football team, and he worked his way up, winning at places like Wisconsin Whitewater. And Chris Kleiman at K-State, working his way up and winning. So that correlation to me is if you can win, why can't you take it to the next level and continue to evaluate talent and win? But others could say you're not going against Bill Self every day, no matter where you work your way up. But that kind of trend line in my mind, I think it's played out enough. I gave you some really good examples right there. So a person who knows how to win at whatever level they are is just a good place to start. That they'll sort things out. People that know how to win usually find ways to win.
Bill Self started winning at Oral Roberts before he went to Tulsa. You working your way up. And this might sound crazy, but I actually like the fact they hired him and he has not taken the Belmont Bruins to the NCAA tournament. And the reason I say that is I think a lot of times in college basketball, we all talk about this. We overvalue what happens in the NCAA tournament. If you have a disappointing season, but you go on a run in March and get to the Final Four, it was a great year. If you have a great year and you peter out in the first weekend, it was a bad year. And that's just the way we do it, but it's not the right way to evaluate whether or not a guy can coach. In the conference that he's in, he's got to win his conference tournament to get into the NCAA tournament. I would rather have a guy that goes and wins his regular season title on a consistent basis than a guy that got into the tournament because of one great run in his conference championship tournament. A lot of times, how many times you see a coach?
3 days of good basketball sometime.
Yeah, and how many times you see a coach who has a decent team and then they go on a run in March and they make that Cinderella run to the Final Four and he parlays that into a big job. And I don't know what the numbers are on it, but my perception is that's not the guy that you necessarily want to hire. I want to hire the guy that can build a team that wins year after year consistently through the course of their season and compete in their league. I feel like if you can do that, that has a better chance of translating to whatever the next job is, and that's what he's done. He wins. They're 160-60, I think, is his record overall at Belmont. He's 100 games over 500, I think.
All right, Nate Bukaty fired up. All right, let's get to the next.
I was making a case for him. I just think I think that
at least you're more excited about that than you were the floor, so that's good.
No, Nate loves the floor.
No, he stuck up for the floor.
I thought it
he
looked
loves the
awesome in
floor.
person. I thought it looked awesome in person, and I thought it looked really cool. But if it's not safe for the players, they shouldn't play on it.
I did all kinds of research for the show this week about the floor, and then here we are. They changed it today.
What do you think about that decision?
Oh, I think it's a great decision, but I went up to the suite level I was there for all the games, all the sessions. So 4 games, 3 days, I've been down there. And most of the time down there, meaning I sat really close to the court, close to where the coaches, the players, the officials, and the media are. So to be fair, and I had an opinion about the floor and other things in the arena at that point, but I was uninformed until I went up to the suite level and hung out with the company for a while. And I go, oh my gosh, it looks completely different up here. As you get higher and higher, it looks completely different than it does on TV. There's actually a lane that has a contrasting color to the three-point line, the inside the three-point line. The court is a little bit like last year's with the Big 12s on it. When you go super high up there, Nate, you probably are only on the first row, so you may not know this, but up there, it looks like a legitimate basketball court with a purpose and color contrasting.
Yeah.
When you see it on TV, you see a medium range. You don't see that. But you see a little bit of contrast. And some of the end zone cameras on replays, suddenly you'll see the lane pop and show color and be more black and have some contrast. I have no idea why they picked gray and not more of a traditional basketball look. The sidelines were a joke. Okay, how many people stepped out of bounds catching the ball in this tournament?
Jamie Dixon
ton.
surely didn't know where the sideline was last night.
It's just one little white light line.
Yeah.
Like, why
Yeah.
didn't they design it with some thickness, like most courts?
Yeah.
More
You know?
contrast.
Yeah.
And
more,
why
yeah,
wasn't
width.
the lane?
Yeah.
Now, maybe that was too much color coming up the eyes of the players, and maybe they had to go gray. But the gray was gray on gray on gray on gray looked awful on TV, in my opinion, and looked even worse when you got down close to the floor. You couldn't tell the contrast. What you could see on the floor a lot of times are the seams, like each glass panel. You could see it. It looked like they were on an outdoors asphalt court. I go, how do these guys even see when you're making a pass, the instincts you have, like, where's the three-point line, where's the lane, where's the out of bounds? I thought they would lose a reference point. It just didn't seem right during the play. It wasn't comfortable down there, and I sat really close to the court all the time. I go, I am so glad I went up to the suite. I had no idea it looks this good up here. Now, warm-ups, introduction and things like that, it was great. The national anthem with the flag, the whole floor is the flag, and it looks like it's waving. You know, super cool at those times. But for basketball purposes, why was it just gray? Then the other thing that happened, and I'm not going to say that I have absolute perfect information on this. This is my perception. I have someone tell me something that confirmed my perception, but I'm not reporting it. I'm telling you, my perception is when I walked in the arena, I was going, why is it dark in here? Why is it dark? Why are the lights down? The players are playing on a less bright floor than they play on, in my opinion, than when they play the other. I've been there 51 times to do K-State games. I've been there way more than that for basketball games.
Yeah.
But 51 times K-State's played in T-Mobile. And I go, my instincts were like, it's kind of dark down here. And I think I was told that TV wanted for the TV to work and everything else to the best. Like when I looked up to the board, I don't know if you did this, Nate. You look up to the board, it was brighter than when you look down on the floor because TV can do that easily.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard a golf tournament where Jim Nantz is saying, it's completely dark out here? But we could see on TV just fine because they can move those irises and just do unbelievable work. So that's fine. TV a lot of times looks more bright and better. But I believe that the lights were down. I hope they would brighten the place up, have more light on the court, and the wood floor or whatever. A design. Even if they use the glass floor, use a design that looks like a basketball court and then does the fancy things in between, and I would have been more acceptable to it. Now, the way they slid around yesterday was different than the first 2 days. I don't know if the athletes were playing at a faster pace to survive. Like the greatest athletes in the Big 12 were getting after it yesterday, and they were sliding around. The slides that I saw earlier, guys, was more like, have you ever watched clay tennis in Paris? Like they actually slide when they hit it, which they do not do on a hard court, and you go, that's different. That's what it was like. And the officials sometimes didn't call traveling. At the K-State game, if a guy's going fast and jump stops, he goes, shh, and then slides for 3 or 4 inches. I've seen that a couple times, but it was dangerous stuff what I saw yesterday.
Yeah, and Taj Manning was the first one that complained about it from K-State and said a teammate got a migraine because of it. And so that started the conversation, and other players followed, and here we are. The hardwood floor will be back.
I can't wait to see the hardwood floor. And I think the lights are going to be brighter in T-Mobile, and it'll be like more focus on the action, the players. And I think they're going to be able to see the basket better and everything else. I mean, the lighting system, I didn't realize that I'd confirmed as my original thought when I walked in. I go, it's darker in here than it normally is. So that's just my perception. Who knows? Until between games, when K-State played on the first Tuesday night, between games, they brought the lights up in the place. The floor wasn't the issue. They were cleaning up. People were leaving. And I go, look, whoa, whoa. Like the spotlight came out. Lights. It's kind of like the spotlight on you guys. I came over to the Power and Light District and saw you guys working up there for a little bit, the two of you. So thanks for what you did, coordinating and keeping things exciting for all of our visitors. So great work. People may not realize what you guys are doing behind the scenes. So great job.
Thank you. We had a blast. And Stan, Jake, and I all looking forward to the games tonight. Nate refusing to watch any more of the tournament.
I'm boycotting.
Stupid
if there's no
hardwood
LED.
floor that he hates. Back after this on WHB.
Well, we might disagree on LED lights and hardwood floors. One thing we can all agree on is that beef is delicious. I think most of us agree on that. I'll tell you this much. If you've had Greengrass Cattle Company beef, you'll agree because it's the best beef I've ever had in my life. I really mean that. And it's locally sourced and locally raised right in Weston, Missouri. The Hare family does an amazing job. They take immaculate care of their cattle, and you'll notice the difference. If you're thinking about buying beef in bulk, now's the time to fill your freezer with locally raised, high-quality beef from Greengrass Cattle Company. When you buy in bulk, that means you're in control. You get to choose the cuts, the packaging. In most cases, it's more affordable per pound than what you find at the big box stores, and it's just better quality. It's processed by Bickelmeyer Meats, which is a big deal too. That's a processor with more than 70 years of experience, and they have raised cattle themselves, so they understand and respect what work goes into raising animals the right way. And the quality is the difference that you can taste from the ground beef to the big cuts, the tomahawk chops, everything. Listen, Greengrass Cattle Company opened its retail store so families could have access to this kind of beef. If buying a whole share feels like too much, they also have beef bundles. That's usually what I get, and 1/8 beef shares as well. Listen, visit greengrasscattleco.com. You can get your freezer ready for grilling season, which is right around the corner. greengrasscattleco.com.
Welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, Nate, you were at the game, Kansas and TCU. Stan, you've watched all these games. Sets up a hell of a semifinal tonight of the Big 12. Nate, Stan, your thoughts about what we're going to see tonight in these two absolutely wonderful college basketball games?
Well, we always love upsets in March, but when you don't get upsets, the one good thing is that you end up getting great matchups late in the tournament, and that's what we have here. So I think it's going to be a hell of a day for basketball in Kansas City, and I think to kind of not to beat that dead horse, but this is what the focus should be. It shouldn't. You don't need to. If you have to sell this, you're in the wrong. Like something's wrong. If you have to sell Iowa State versus Arizona and Kansas versus Houston back to back, Stan, there's a problem here because these games should sell themselves. It's going to be great.
Speaking of horses, Brett Yormark's actually going to have a horse run on the court after every 3-point shot tonight. He thinks that could be some good attention for the Big 12. So looking forward to that.
Well, where's Shaq?
DJ Khaled will be here tonight. So.
No, it's elite basketball, and for an environment, it's an elite setup because Iowa State fans and Kansas fans are the ones who fill the arena up with the most emotion. So, it's just going to be incredibly good. The teams that are the favorite, wearing the white jerseys and really think of themselves as national championship level. Houston was just a point or so away of winning it last year. They're not as good this year without L.J. Cryer, the great three-point shooter. They've taken a step back, but still – Kelvin Sampson knows how to win. They know how to fight. They know how to play in the tournament. They've got some returning players and freshmen. So Houston's just fine. They're really good. And Arizona has proven to be right there as one of the three best teams in the country, if not the best team in the country. But they're going to have an uphill battle. They're wearing the white jerseys. They're a little bit of the favorite in a sense. But in another way, they're going to have the crowd roaring against them. So it'll be very interesting to see how they handle that, because this will be some big stress. Anytime the underdog has a slight advantage, home court advantage, that's the best games. The best NFL playoffs in my mind are when the Rams, who could go win the Super Bowl, have to go play on the road and get their work done. And we love having the Chiefs at home, but when the Chiefs have to go to the Ravens, you get the greatest games ever, because the better team, the one that knows how to win, etc., has to go on the road. And in this environment, it's going to be crazy good. With the Iowa State and KU fans. The things may even up if they root against each other. I mean, that
right.
If the KU fans are like, I'm going to
– Yeah, but if you're a KU fan, do you want to play Iowa State or do you want to play Arizona?
Well, it's very interesting.
I mean –
what about the ticket price tomorrow? What about – I don't know. You assume you don't want to play Arizona, right?
Answer the question, Nate.
Who are you rooting for in that game? So you're assuming Kansas is going to win because you're a KU Jayhawk. But no, who?
Nate's already worried about who
I did not assume Kansas was going to win last night. For the record, I mean, I
did.
Jake did.
Jake and Nate, who would you rather play, Arizona or Iowa State?
Iowa State.
Jake didn't even hesitate. What tremendous confidence.
I think I'd rather.
I think that's better for the city. I think that'd be a better environment. I think that'd be a more.
I want to know what
exciting.
you want.
Okay, Nate the Kansas Cityan or Nate the Jayhawk?
Nate the Jayhawk.
Nate the Jayhawk rather play Arizona because I think that you have nothing to lose, and you actually probably go up in the net rankings and all that stuff, even if you lose. So you got another crack at them.
They're both ranked ahead of you.
Yeah, I know, but Arizona's the number one team in the country, so you got another game against them that probably helps your seeding in the NCAA tournament, and also test yourself against them. And
which team do you think you can beat?
I think. If you're Kansas, you better think you can beat both. I mean, you beat them.
Which team do you think you'd have a better chance of beating?
Pin them down.
You got a better chance of beating Iowa State because they're not as good as Arizona.
Wouldn't that help your seeding more than a loss to Arizona?
I don't think so.
You don't?
No.
You don't think that beating Arizona or losing to Arizona and then beating Iowa State, you don't think that would help your seeding more?
I don't think so. I mean, I would ask the course.
How?
Because Arizona's a higher ranked team than them.
Barely. I mean, but what? They're
like the number one team in the country.
I know, but
Iowa State's just a 5 seed. I'm just joking. They are the 5 seed
in this tournament.
Yes,
right. No,
they're not the 4 seed.
They're ranked 7th
they
in the
upset
nation.
Texas Tech by that.
So a win over 7, you think is less valuable than a loss to 1?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised the way that
that doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't think that either one. I think that
win over a top 10 team.
I think you got more to gain, but you potentially have more to gain by playing Arizona from a standpoint of if you win, it's a better win, and it's you got to test yourself against those guys with a healthy Darren Peterson, who's who played 37 minutes last night. I mean, Kansas needs, if they want to have a special season, they're going to have to beat teams like that. So why not? Why not test yourself against the best? Arizona's the best team in this league. Would anybody argue that?
Come on, buddy.
Why not? It's because I'd rather play Iowa State because you have a
better chance to win.
Better chance to win and better chance to improve your seed.
Maybe.
What about the other way around then?
But do you have a better chance to win? Because Iowa State's my only point is Iowa State in the regular season is different than Iowa State in this tournament.
Agreed.
That's true, man. They and their fans, it'll be maybe 50-50, if not more Iowa State fans. If they
Iowa State fans will be louder.
Yeah.
If it's 50-50.
Yeah. I agree with that.
They're more passionate about doing something in this tournament than the Kansas fans are.
I agree with that.
And Kansas fans show out at this tournament, but this is
their thing, man. This is Iowa State's thing.
This is there's a passion about it, that the yelling energy level that they give on each basket, each steal, is stronger than anybody else there. So I don't know if Arizona, with a few fans, is harder to beat, or Iowa State playing magically with that crowd.
Yeah,
I don't know. But the other way around, if Iowa State wins, will their fans root for Houston and say we don't want to see Kansas here in this tournament? And that would even things out, like a few more people cheering. My whole point was there's not going to be a lot of people cheering for Arizona or Houston.
Right.
And they are the teams wearing the white uniforms. So it's going to be great basketball.
All right, we've got Nate Bukaty, Stan Weber, Jake Gutierrez all back in studio. My name's Stephen St. John. I'm live at the Hilton President Hotel in downtown Kansas City, Missouri, official hotel of New Day with SSJ, and my headquarters for the Big 12 tournament. We'll be back after this on WHB. Hello there, Kansas City. Stephen St. John here for Window Nation. I think that you realize that spring weather around here is unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen, and you never know which way you'll have to adjust your thermostat unless you have the right windows. With Window Nation, you can count on your home being comfortable regardless of the weather. Their windows are customizable and energy efficient. Expert installations take just one day, and Window Nation products are backed by a lifetime warranty. And there's no better time to upgrade with Window Nation. In March, the more you buy, the more you can save. Up to 50% off all window styles. And how about this? Do you want to hear something even better? Well, I got it for you. You can get 0% financing for up to 60 months. 0% interest for 60 months. That'll do, right? Window Nation. And maybe you got some damage from hail and you need to replace those windows now. Well, visit windownation.com for your free consultation today. Windownation.com, and tell them SSJ sent you.
Day with SSJ is brought to you by Walker Medical Linen Service. Locally owned, HLAC certified, and trusted by Kansas City's top hospitals and clinics. Walker Medical